Good morning, everybody. It's Friday, July 2nd, the last day of the week as we head into a long weekend, the 4th of July celebration. So happy 4th to everybody. I am Kenny Polcari, your host of the party, morning market commentary, everything you need to know to get your day started and really as we move into the weekend and think about what's happening next week. So what happened yesterday? What is it that we need to know about? OPEC had an internal fight, therefore they postponed their decision, yet oil continues to surge. Xi Jinping turns up the heat on Taiwan and thus the temperature in the room. And so what will Joey do? The NFP report is due out today. Will it surprise or disappoint? Jimmy Bullard becomes a comedian. Just wait till you hear this. And we're going to try the baked wings as we go into the 4th of July weekend. Look, the economic reports continue to come in strong, fueling another advance ahead of today's all-important non-farm payroll report, right? Adding excitement to the rotation into stocks that are sure to benefit from this global recovery. And it's time to stop saying a U.S. recovery because it's really about the global recovery, right? So many U.S. stocks, think Dow, S&P, NASDAQ, that have multinational exposure are going to experience this massive boost and boom to their bottom lines. And the U.S.-centric ones, really represented by the Russell small and mid caps, are also experiencing a boom to their bottom line. So like it is, it's a trophy for everybody. Right? And that was clear by yesterday's action, right? By the end of the day, the Dow added 139 points or nearly 0.4%. The S&P was up 20 points, 0.5%, taking it up and decisively through 4,300 on its third attempt. The NASDAQ, which swung all over the place, and it was 1 point significantly lower as money moved out of the tech names and into the recovery names before rebounding, right, on these renewed concerns over the Delta COVID variant, especially as we move into this long weekend, right, the super spreader weekend. And that did end the day up 18 points. And the Russell gained 17 points or nearly 0.75%, while the transports with a clear winner turned the corner, surging by 200 points or up almost 1.3%. U.S. manufacturing rose as expected. But the prices paid component rose even more, hitting a 42-year high, suggesting that, guess what? Inflation may not be as transitory as the talking heads want us to believe, which is why I keep saying that the Jimmy Bullard Bostic mid-22 comments are real, they are alive, and they are on the table. Initial jobless claims fell in those states that have stopped the additional benefits while it remains elevated in states that are paying the base plus the extra 300, right? That's a Democrat versus Republican fight, suggesting that the extra benefit may in fact be one of the reasons that so many of the available jobs out there are still going unfilled, leaving small businesses fighting to reopen and get going. In any event, the decline in initial jobless claims is good, but the sense is that it could be even better. But let's not go there right now, right? 10-year treasuries ended the day down at 1 point, yielding 1.46%, which is even lower than it was on Thursday, suggesting that the economic environment and the robust recovery, coupled with the still very compassionate and accommodative Fed, is creating an environment that continues to fully support equities, as well as a number of our assets. But let's be honest. If inflation does become more than just transitory, which I, along with many others, believe it will, then Jay is going to be having that mid-2022 conversation by the fall of 2021. Let's hope that's not the case, because if it is, that means we're going to have both the tapering and rate increases happening at about the same time, and that, my friends, would be a massive recipe for disaster. And speaking of Jimmy B, yesterday he gets back on television telling us that he thinks that the housing market may be getting into a bit of a bubble and he doesn't want the Fed to be fueling the mania. I mean, when did he become a comedian? I mean, that's the funniest thing I've heard in my whole lifetime, and I'm 60 years old. Is this guy kidding me? He thinks the housing market may be a bit overextended or it may be in a bubble. I basically spit my coffee up all over my keyboard when I heard that yesterday, right? He really should go on America's Got Talent because it was the funniest thing I've ever heard. He thinks that we're in a bubble. Really? And then there's always politics, and this is always kind of antsy. And while it usually does nothing in terms of long-term pricing, it can disrupt, and sometimes it does disrupt the short-term thinking. And now Joey has his hands full with his supposed very good friend Xi Jinping from China, right? He's the main man over there. And he took to the local stage in Beijing to celebrate the 100 years of communism. in China, saying that, and I quote, only socialism can save China, and only socialism with Chinese characteristics, think communism, can develop China. We will never allow anyone to bully, oppress, or subjugate China. Anyone who dares to do this will have their heads bashed bloody against the Great Wall of Steel forged by $1.4 billion Chinese people. Now, where the heck did that come from? Sounds to me like this 68-year-old is on hormone replacement therapy, but that's a whole nother conversation. He also went on and in no uncertain terms said that China maintains an unshakable commitment to the reunification with Taiwan, confirming that Beijing views the island as Chinese, and there's an argument there, while everyone else views it as an independent nation. But in any event, he has now drawn a clear line in the sand and he has turned the temperature up. And I just wonder if anyone in the Biden administration is even paying attention. And then the boys from Sherwood Forest, think Robinhood, revealed that they filed for an IPO and they've chosen NASDAQ as their venue of choice, and they're going to use the symbol HOOD, H-O-O-D, as their ticker symbol. Meanwhile, I think they should use the symbol hoodwinked, but that's too many letters, as their ticker symbol. But anyway, they're making the unusual decision to set aside 35% of the deal for individual investors, part of a strategy to bring the IPO process to the masses in what is being viewed by some as a desperate attempt to kiss the regulator's backside and make nice, while others view it as a democratization of the opportunity. Either way, it is what it is. It's going to be interesting to see what value the market places on it, especially because of all the hype. And this is all one day after they announced this $70 million fine that they had to pay to clean up the mess that they created months ago. I mean, this has to be the top of the market, or if it's not, we must be getting very close. And then what happened virtually in Vienna with the OPEC meeting, right? Well, apparently OPEC Plus got into a tiff, right? The United Arab Emirates were objecting to any increase in production and supply because they're not convinced of this global robust recovery. And that delayed the formal decision of what to do about surging demand from the developed industrialized world. And I say that because demand from this demographic is increasing almost exponentially, while demand from the developing world remains less than robust. So in addition, you always have the Iran issue as well, right? Whether the U.S. and other countries are going to re-engage with them to negotiate the Obama-era nuclear ambitions, and what that then means to Iran and supplying oil to the market and increased supply or not. It's always under there, right? In any event, crude oil prices rose more than 2.5%, closing at $75.23 a barrel for West Texas Intermediate and only going higher. So brace yourself, right? Word is that we can expect 500,000 barrels more a day beginning in August and maybe more as we move into next year, leaving the brain trust at Goldman Sachs to say it's still not enough to keep prices down. Recall that Goldman's got this $100 price target on oil. As you might expect, the energy ETF, the XLE, led the surge, gaining nearly 1.75%. I hope by now you've owned the XLE as a broad way to play this move, or at least if you didn't do that, you have a couple of energy names in your portfolio, names like ExxonMobil or Chevron or EOG or PXD or Kinder Morgan, KMI. This morning on the final traded day of the week and before the long weekend, we have futures up again. They're up just a bit, but they are up, right? Dow futures up 10, S&Ps are up 2, Nasdaq's up 21, the Russell's basically flat. Economic data today is all about the non-farm payrolls, and expectations are for 720,000 new jobs to be created. But the whisper number says brace yourself for a beat, just like the ADP report. Unemployment's supposed to go to 5.6% and average hourly earnings to be up 3.6% year over year, while they're supposed to be up 0.3% month over month. Both of these numbers are very significant to keep your eyes on. Factory orders and durable goods will come out at 10 o'clock, and we expect plus 1.6 and plus 2.3 respectively. European markets are also attempting to move up, but they remain patient as they too await the U.S. data. Eurozone producer price indexes defined by what they call factory gate prices, which is the price of the product available at the factory, rose by 1.3% month over month and 9.6% year over year. In addition, you may have heard that 130 countries have pledged their support for this U.S.-backed proposal of a global 15% corporate minimum tax, which is sure to cause lots of conversations amongst the paparazzi. Janet Yellen and many other Democrats came out and praised the move, while Republicans naturally oppose it. it's going to be very interesting to see what all these international legislative bodies actually really think when it comes time to vote. Bitcoin down another 2% this morning, trading at 32,800. Ethereum's just hovering around 2,000, and Dogecoin is trading at about 22 cents. The S&P closed at 43.19 yesterday, deep into the next century mark. Recall that we began the year at 37.56, and we've advanced through 6 century marks this year, leaving us at another all-time high, and we still have 6 months to go before the year is out. And the funny thing is, should we get hit by some black swan event, think mid-2022 rate hikes, we could easily revisit 37.56 again. But let's assume that that does not happen. Let's remain positive. And as you know by now, the smart money is betting on an even better second half than the first half. And I'm in that camp. I do think we are going to end the year higher at 4,400 on the S&P. All the talk of whether or not you should be in or out of the market is nonsense. You should always be in the market. You can always buy yourself protection on the downside if you're getting anxious. It's good planning. It doesn't suggest a weak hand at all, but that's just natural risk management, right? Remember, I identified the current trading channel for the S&P remains 42.26 and 4,400 essentially. You know what you can do? You can text the word invest at 21,000 to get my digital business card. Feel free to download it, text me, email me, send me, give me a call. I'm always happy to discuss a plan, the markets, ideas, thoughts, concerns. And you know, you can also get me on Twitter. My Twitter handle is my name at Kenny Polcari. So now we're moving into the long weekend, right? I can't even believe like we're 6 months through the year and it's already 4th of July we're talking about. And so what are we serving up? So I'm serving up baked wings, right? So it's like chicken wings. This is not with that traditional chicken wing hot sauce. This is different. This is made with brown sugar and mustard and soy sauce. You bake them, and they're actually very good. You can serve them the same way with ranch or blue cheese dressing, right? They're simple to make. You'll let them marinate overnight. They're delicious to eat. Trust me, there will be no leftovers on the wings once you make it. So for this, you need 2 cups of brown sugar. You need 1 cup of yellow mustard. I've never actually made it like with the Dijon mustard. You might try it, but this is yellow mustard. 1/4 cup of soy sauce and 5 pounds of the wings, right? So this recipe is for 5 pounds of wings. Mix all those ingredients together, except the wings. Then take 1/2 cup of the marinade that you make and just set it aside. Put it in a little container, set it aside, leave it in the fridge because you're going to use it to baste. Now use a Ziploc bag, put the wings in the Ziploc bag, dump the marinade into the Ziploc bag, seal it up, toss the bag around so you coat everything, put them in the fridge and let them sit overnight. Now tomorrow, when you want to make them, take them out of the fridge, an hour and a half beforehand so that they warm up to room temperature. Go preheat your oven to 400 degrees. If you want to do these on the grill, you can do them on the grill, certainly, but preheat the oven to 400 degrees. Put the wings in a large enough pan so that they're not crowded. You don't want them sitting on top of each other. You kind of want them, on the bottom if you can. Bake them, put them in the oven, bake them for 30 minutes. Take them out. Use that extra marinade you had. Baste the chicken wings. Put them back in the oven for another 20 minutes or so. You just want to make sure they're cooked. You can tell when they're crispy. They get nice and golden brown. You can tell when the chicken wing is done. But you can take them out in that second half of the second 30-minute period. You can take it out and use that marinade and baste them a couple of times. You can flip them over, baste them again, but put them back in the oven and let them cook at 400 degrees until they're done. Once they're done, serve them on a big platter as you would any other chicken wings. Put them on your picnic table along with all the other food you're going to prepare. You can serve it with ranch dressing or blue cheese dressing if you want to dip the same way you might with the hot sauce. These are just different, right? So they give someone, they're delicious. They're easy to make, but they don't have the hot sauce flavor, but they're different. Listen, you can make both. You can make a set of wings with the hot sauce if you want. You can make these set of wings and you can see which is better. I like both, but I like this one as well because it's different than the hot sauce one. But either way, you be the judge. Take a picture, prepare them, take a picture, send it to me. Let me know what you think. I'm always happy to talk about it. In any event, the weekend is almost upon us. Take good care. I'll see you on Tuesday.